It's great to have you with us today. I'm Letecia, a product marketer here at UpGuard. For many teams, staying on top of procurement risk is becoming increasingly challenging. Every year, our network of third-party vendors expands as we onboard more partners for both internal operations and outsourced support. However, a staggering 54% of businesses admit that they do not adequately vet their third-party vendors. This oversight significantly increases risk for organizations, both from compliance violations, operational disruptions, reputational damage, and financial losses. Consider this. Compared to an internal breach, data breaches within the software supply chain and among business partners takes longer to detect and are more costly to rectify. A vendor's vulnerability is your liability, but the stakes are higher for you. And so it's no surprise that third-party relationships are fast becoming a first priority, with early InfoSec team involvement in the due diligence process so critical. At UpGuard, we believe in working closely with our customers to tackle end-to-end third-party cyber risk. And not too long ago, I caught up with Michael, who works as an information security specialist for a large non-for-profit healthcare company, and Ankita, who works as a cybersecurity specialist for a leading Australian higher education provider. Let's see how they're dealing with procurement risks, starting with what life was like prior to UpGuard coming on the scene. Take a listen.
So I came onto our risk platform a little over 2 years ago. They were using many different solutions. So we had our quick-based forms. Well, it was a Microsoft form, actually. And then they also used security scorecard and recorded future and, like OneTrust and cyber. Like, they used so many tools. And the worst part is they hadn't built any automation between any of them. When we were doing that, we were averaging 2 to 3 vendors a month. And since we've gone to UpGuard, I think our normal numbers are 5 to 10 a month right now. It's definitely decreased our turnaround time for an assessment. Before, I believe our turnaround time was closer to 3 months. And now I think we're hovering right around a month. We went from using literally 5 products down to 2, and here pretty soon down to 1.
Previously, we had a very questionnaire-based process where we used to send like 100 plus Excel sheet questions to the vendor to complete. That Excel sheet approach was not too pleasant for the vendors. So now after implementing UpGuard, we have these features like automation, AI, and rules in place, which really makes the process of accessing the vendor. And the process of completing the questionnaire has really become smooth. And as you know, that VRA journey doesn't end with the signing of the agreement. Like any relationship, this vendor relationship needs to be continuously monitored and nurtured. So after implementing the UpGuard, we have got this great help of continuously monitoring all the crown jewels of our company. So by that, we can regularly monitor the compliance and any kind of risk indicators consistently. So implementing the UpGuard has definitely removed a big challenge of continuously monitoring the crown jewels for our team.
That sounds like a familiar experience we frequently hear from organizations before they start using UpGuard. Now that we've helped speed up the procurement process and cut out disconnected systems, I was curious to learn what the vendor onboarding and evaluation process for the InfoSec team was like today. Here's what they shared.
In UTS, procurement teams are often looking for input and insight from us, that is security team, to help them understand what questions to ask the vendor, what red flags to look for, and what risk they should focus on before choosing the vendor, that is before onboarding the vendor. So interaction with our security team makes sure that procurement team is informed of all these issues and risk before they onboard the vendor. So procurement teams might not have that perspective and knowledge to access those risks. So we, the security team, provides our inputs, which definitely plays a very, very vital role in choosing the vendor for our company. We start with a relationship questionnaire, which kind of gives us an idea, like which tiering we have to assign to this particular vendor. Earlier, that was not possible for us. But after implementing UpGuard, we have this tiering facility. So once we send this relationship questionnaire to the vendor, we get the whole idea of how much time to focus on this particular vendor. So once that is completed, second step is that we send the cyber vendor questionnaire to the vendor, which is again like a long list of questions. But after implementing the rules and automation kind of stuff, again, the vendor has this freedom where he can answer the questions with the help of AI. So that is not a tedious task for the vendor, where they feel comfortable enough that they can complete this task within a certain time frame with the help of AI and obviously human intervention. And last step is remediation, which again UpGuard help us by defining all the critical, medium, high, low risk, and which definitely gives that idea through the report to the vendor that which risk to focus on and which risk they can accept. So yeah, risk assessment report is finally fetched through UpGuard by us, which is shared by our UTS internal owners, which again helps them to select and choose the vendor based on all the mentioned critical and high risk in the report.
Anytime our organization wants to work with a new vendor, they have to get a vendor review done, and then they also have to get it's called an architecture review, but it's where they actually look at how the connections are going to be made. So every vendor goes through us. Now, they might not be cyber relevant, so they might not need like a big risk review. They might just come in, get the relationship assessment done, and then, oh, okay, they're not really cyber relevant. I'll make sure that I don't see any like massive red flags from UpGuard's automated scoring, and then I'll approve them at that point and then push them on. We went and made these breakpoints with our OI privacy and ethics team because we're a hospital organization, so there's a lot of ethics and whatnot involved in it. So we kind of went to them, got their breakpoints, and then built those into a formula that calculates the tiering. We have 4 different criticalities. We have our low, moderate, high, and then our critical vendors. If it's over 10,000 records but under 100,000, then they are moderate. If they are over 100,000 but under 1 million, they are now a high vendor. And if they are over 1 million, they're critical. And then, 10,000 under records, that's a low. If they are low, they're under 10,000 records, but they're still getting a little bit, like maybe 1,000 records of some sort of data, then I'll probably send out the SIG-like questionnaire that you guys have built in there. So now that you've built that, a lot of times I've been sending that out if they're handling any data, just because it makes it a little easier for me. I can get a little bit more information, but it's not like a huge heavy lift. A SIG-like, it's only 100 questions or so, 126, I think. Then as they move up in criticality, we have our next custom-made questionnaire, which is based upon the SIG core. So once you're moderate or high, it doesn't really affect what questionnaire you get at that point. You get the same questionnaire whether you're moderate, high, or critical for us, but it does impact how much risk we're willing to waive in the questionnaire. So if it comes back and you've got some things that we're not like super happy about, we might be more willing to waive or remediate those risks than others. So the last questionnaire that might get sent out to them as far as like a vendor risk perspective is our AI questionnaire. Then I'll basically take all the information that I've got. I'll look at all the different risks from the questionnaires. I'll look at the risks from the automated scoring that's happened. I will either remediate or waive any risks that I think are not relevant or met by compensated controls. And then I'll leave the other ones open, and it'll just affect their score. And then they'll get their approved or denied rating.
It's clear that early involvement in the process is so critical to identifying and addressing risk. And with our daily scanning, workflow automation, and out-of-the-box questionnaire content, UpGuard has played a big part in helping to streamline the process. As we concluded the calls, I asked Michael and Ankita to share the impact that UpGuard has had on their broader organization and how they've found the overall experience, as well as their thoughts on the level of customer service received.
Definitely 10 out of 10, I would say, because in past, when we initially started using UpGuard, we had so many challenges, so many questions, and every time I had one question in mind, I used to look at my right side chat window, little one, and here I am typing something and here the person is available for me. And apart from that chat window, if I ask anything on your customer email address, they are so quick to answer. So definitely I'm too much satisfied with your customer service. Brilliant service by you guys.
When we were looking at switching from our old vendor to UpGuard, we looked at a bunch of different like competitors, and I would say UpGuard, the main reason we chose them was the customer service. So like how much they were working with me on like understanding like what products we wanted, what features we wanted. And then I've recommended a couple feature sets already that have rolled out. And then, I've worked with the product team and talked to the product team about like the front facing portal, and then a couple other things that I met with them and looked at different products. And every time we have, it's been great.
Thanks so much, Ankita and Michael, for sharing your stories. It's great to hear the love for our customer support team. We know that the current process for onboarding vendors is often complicated, fragmented, leading to delays when high-quality security is crucial. InfoSec teams should be enablers, not blockers. Our role is to integrate security earlier in your procurement process, helping you to move faster. We've already achieved this with the vendor relationship questionnaire, powerful automation, and the latest API that allows non-UpGuard users to trigger the onboarding process from an external system, such as a procurement platform. By simplifying these steps and leveraging all of the other powerful vendor risk capabilities, we cut down months of work, enabling faster vendor assessments and onboarding. However, there's still plenty more exciting features planned in our roadmap to make this process even better. Chat with your customer success manager to learn more, or check out our help articles and API documentation to get started.